today we are looking at the Honda Odyssey as our car of the week, to honor my family minivan. Now, usually I would take a more technical aspect, into account when doing these videos, which we will. Of course, we're going to be using the car comparison tool to compare all the different generations, talk about the history, but this is more of a feeling, episode, more on what families do for minivans, or what minivans do for families. That's a better phrasing. So, to start off with understanding the Honda Odyssey, we must understand the different generations. Now, the first generation was a little bit weird in the fact that, first of all, it was higher off the ground than most minivans. It had more power under the hood than most minivans, and the doors open normally. So this was more like a Mazda MPV than it was like a Chrysler Town & Country or Pontiac or whatever they were calling it back then. This model was made from 1995 to 1998, therefore starting the Honda Odyssey. So yes, the Honda Odyssey has been caring for families and carrying crap for more than 30 years now. So it's very good. Very, very happy there. The second generation was between 1999 and 2001, and this was pre-facelift, so this was the not facelifted version. The facelifted version ran between 2002 and 2004. Spot the difference, because quite frankly I can't. I think it was the taillights got updated, but other than that I can't see any major thing. The next minivan, which is the best Honda Odyssey minivan in my opinion, went from 2005 to 2007, and it was the pre-facelift third generation. Best car you will ever own, best car I've ever rode in, my family minivan, of course. I love this car. Nostalgia, of course, plays a role in that. The facelifted version ran between 2008 and 2010, and then the next generation, which is the fourth generation, ran between 2011 and 2013 before being updated to the piano black Honda style in 2014 and carrying through to 2017. I really love those wheels, and this takes the cake for the second best Honda Odyssey here, right? Now, the current generation, which is between 2019 and 2020, which is the pre-facelifted version, takes the cake as the third best Honda Odyssey. The rest of them all are kind of meh, except for the earlier ones. Those are actually really cool. And then the facelifted version continued in 2020 and is still being sold today. So, yeah, I guess. I think this is the ugliest of the Honda minivans, but it's not a bad car. So, who exactly designed these cars? It starts with a K, and I can't pronounce it, so I'm just not going to try to, because I don't want to butcher his name. And he designed one of my favorite cars on the planet, so that would be kind of mean if I did. He designed the original Honda Odyssey, the cool one, so, that's worth something. Now let's get into the technical aspect. We have the first, second, third, fourth generation Honda Odyssey here. On the next slide, we'll have the third, fourth, and fifth generations, so you can kind of compare those. We can see the starting price gradually going up. We can see the trend there. And then we can see that the highest rated out of all of these is the newest one, the fourth generation. We can see that the original one doesn't have its engine put down, which is weird. 2002 had a V6, the other one had a V6, and then the new one had a regular unleaded V6. They both got 1825. It's pretty normal, except for the newest version, which got a few more miles per gallon, sitting in at 19 city, 27 highway. They all have similar horsepower around the 240 range, 240, 244, 248. Not a whole lot going on there. All front-wheel drive, of course. Seating capacity is always 7. There's not much to talk about here. 5-speed, pretty much what you would, 6-speed for the newer one, but pretty much what you would expect. We can see the horsepower. It's fine. There's nothing particularly interesting going on here. The newer generations, which is, of course, the third, fourth, and fifth generations, you can see that price just goes way up. Just significantly, astoundingly up. And so does that price. As the year goes up, the price also goes up. Again, the new one also has a V6 as standard. Again, both of the new ones have slightly better gas mileage than the older third generation, but they're both crap. These two. The new generation is good. It's reliable. It's fine. But compared to the third generation, I mean, come on. Can't even compare it. For the horsepower numbers, again, I am slightly biased. This one has the least amount of horsepower. This one's sitting in at 248, and this one has 280. Big show off. They all have 8 seating capacity with a removable middle seat in between the 2 rear captain's chairs, which is how they should all go. I just want to let you know that when car companies ship your car without a 3rd seat in between the 2 captain's chairs and say it's an option, you're paying more to get less seats. That's a problem. And the captain's chairs are already there. You can just take the middle seat out. That's how real minivans do it. Nope, this one has 8 seats technically because the middle one isn't removable. Yada, 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 doesn't really matter. So you get the idea here. Now we're getting into what I think is the most important thing about the Honda Odyssey, and that is the family minivan aspect. The family minivan is your sanctuary growing up. I want you to raise your hand. Pretend like we're in school. That's raise your hand if you have had a family minivan or a family car. All of you have done that, and probably 90% of you have had a minivan. That was the era that we grew up in. I don't know your age, but I grew up in 2005. I gained competency around 2010, and then in 2015 I was 10, so you kind of get the timeline there. And our family minivan was a 2007 Honda Odyssey, and later on in the video I will have a real photo of that car. It is my favorite car. It is what inspired me to talk about cars. Yeah, the family minivan after soccer practice and everything, that's the car that you find sanctuary in, the car that you get used to, the car that you sleep in the back of. There's something to be said for a family minivan, something where the entire family uses it, they all like it, and, even the parents, it's kind of like their sanctuary too, right? The kids are in the back, don't have to worry about them, and it's just a car that they can drive that will fit their entire family. It's usually reliable, gets decent gas mileage, and the kids love it, right? They get to be with their siblings, which I really liked, and it's sanctuary. You're going home. It's like a sense of, this is my minivan, my turf. And us as kids, we were really boring. We were like the only kids who liked cars in like 5th grade, and we would debate over whose minivan was better, and I had the Honda Odyssey, and some of my friends had the Siennas, and low-key I was kind of jealous, but still, I love my Odyssey. And that car feels invincible when you're a kid, right? You see your parents driving it through snow, through rain, it feels like that minivan is unstoppable, right? It will do anything for you to get your family wherever it needs to go. Not AI at all. It's a nice image, even though it's not real at all. And the family minivan is like, It's the family minivan. The children of the community are the children of the community. There's something to be said about that. You know what I'm saying here? It's like your space of sanctuary. It's a car that you're always going home when you get into. It's a car that you're familiar with, right? If you're having a bad day at school or you're upset or something, you're standing outside with your friends, you're in the drop-off line, and all of a sudden you see that cherry red Honda Odyssey pull up. You know that is your car. You're going home. The day is over. It's fine, right? It brings a sense of calming to you. And as you get older, you bond with that minivan more. As I was learning to drive, I rode that minivan, and my brother started to learn to drive it at a younger age, and boy, he would send that thing off these Oregon hills. I mean, he would get air in that minivan, all 4 tires off the ground. They'd be going like 70 up hills. A weird guy. I'm surprised he's still alive. But, teenagers driving the family minivan. We've crashed it at least twice. That minivan, it felt unstoppable. The Oregon snow, it would plow straight through that. All the curves, everything, straight through it. It felt like that minivan was invincible. And some minivans damn near are. There's just something to be said about the reliability. Feel bad for that guy. There's something to be said about the reliability and durability of a minivan. It has the comfortability and the reliability of a sedan with the space of a U-Haul. I mean, seriously, I really think the minivan is the best car type out there. You can fit as many people as you want, you can fit as much crap in the back as you want, and they're great. This one's even a Mazda MP3, so do with that what you will. But the family minivan is one of a child's first exposure to cars. It's the sanctuary. It's kind of the friendmobile. I remember having my friends in my car. It was kind of like, hey, check out my cool minivan. We have seats and rear air conditioning knobs. Isn't that cool? It's kind of showing off. I don't know if it was for you, but for me, my minivan was very important in helping me understand cars, right? I loved cars, and the first car that I ever got to see that I really liked was my family minivan, and that's what led me into consumer cars. There are so many cars out there. So many cool cars. You got like the Bugattis, you got the Porsches, the fancy, fast-driving cars. but the only car in my entire lifetime that I will ever want, like seriously want, like I would do almost anything to find it again, or just to find it, period. It's not a Bugatti, it's not a Porsche, it is my family minivan, and this is a real picture of my family minivan. Unfortunately, we got rid of it in 2020, and I wrote down all the information, the model number, even though that's kind of useless. And one of these days, I'm going to track that minivan down. Lord help me. I mean, it's got to be somewhere on this planet, and I will find it, and I'm going to convert it. It's going to be really cool. I just need to find that minivan. I need it back. I loved that minivan. That was the first ever exposure I had to cars. It made me appreciate consumer cars. There are so many car YouTube channels out there that only care about speed. They only care about style. They only care about how cool the car is. I don't think that's why I love cars. Why I love cars is because they're useful, they're functional. They will give every single mile. Yes, we did that damage. That was my brother. It was a little gate we had in our yard. God, chain link fence really, really ate up that bumper. And did we ever replace it? No, of course we didn't. It was the first ever exposure I had to cars, and it was what made me love consumer, normal, everyday cars. Just appreciating what they do, especially for families, but just individual people. And to end off this video, the best words, the words that describe any person's relationship with their car. We're not talking the weird guy. Have you seen that weird guy with this red Chevrolet who does some unspeakable things to it? We're not talking about that when we say we love our cars. The words of regular car reviews, Rowan, I believe, and his Toyota Echo was, I know it's just a machine, but it's my machine. With that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I think there's a pretty good car of the week.